Alright agents, welcome back to the channel. If you didn't see my post yesterday, some of you may not know that I have been reactivated into the Division 2 myself. Now this is because, well, some guys that I played the second raid with, which was Iron Horse, they ended up deciding to wanting to raid again. So for whatever reason, I kind of agreed to go along with them. How long I'm going to be back in the Division, I can't necessarily say. In this video, I'm basically just kind of rebuilding a lot of the healer builds that I've basically dismantled or changed or kind of spread across other characters, and now I'm having to go through and find a bunch of different pieces and kind of recreate a bunch of these builds. Now, for anyone interested in kind of the basics of what builds I'm creating, one of them is going to be basically just a boomer heal build. That's something I ended up creating, and that's going to be focused on the Scorpio shotgun and an opportunistic Alps backpack with the BTSU gloves. Now that's basically just to try to double down Boomer, getting some shock on him, allowing the turret to possibly get 2 damage phases on him per run. We'll see. I don't know exactly how that works, but that's something that was suggested to me from one of the guys. So since I am normally the reliable healer of the group, I'm pretty much always there, spot on with my heals, at least as best as I can be. That's something that I'm going to be running. Another build that I need to put together is my Mortisova, or is it Morisova? I don't know, one of them. The final boss in Iron Horse, I have a specific healing build for that, which basically just centers around having Ravenous in case I need to stagger her. I also have an Alps backpack with Overwatch, and that's because we usually run 2 healers on that, and the other guy usually has the Future Initiative chest piece on, so we don't really need to double tap that buff. So I end up going with Overwatch just to further increase the damage from the teammates. And I usually go with Sawyer's knee pads. Now in the past, I think there was some issues with running Sawyer's knee pads. It really didn't seem to actually stop staggering. I think they fixed it. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see as I get back into it, but it does give me a little bit of armor, does boost my damage a little bit, not that that's important, and it does give me some explosive damage resistance, so it just helps me stay in cover a little bit better, that kind of thing. So it gives me my team a buff, allows me to heal better, without focusing on myself. I don't have to waste heals on myself because I'm getting healing back whenever I heal teammates. So, it's a good healing build for the end boss of Iron Horse. And of course, aside from my just generic raid DPS builds, I'm also needing to go back and rebuild my control room healer. Now, if you don't know about the control room, there is a strategy where a healer can actually go into the control room and basically just tank the fire damage that goes on in there. And so one of the key priorities for this build is having enough heals and having enough, I guess, skill haste and that kind of stuff to be able to stay alive in there. Now, I use Murakami because obviously that increases the duration on my chem launcher heals. That way I'm not spamming too many chem launcher heals and just kind of running out of heals. This also allows me to heal people that are in the control room while still having enough healing from my chem launcher to, hit me in an emergency. I can use my BTSU gloves to basically reset anyone's reviver hive, since I'm not necessarily out there being able to heal them. And, everyone's usually spread out in that room anyway, so being just one healer in that group, I really couldn't heal everyone anyway. So this kind of allows for me to, basically just use that build the best way possible, keeping them alive by keeping their revivers fresh and keeping myself alive so I can actually, hit the buttons and toggle the switches in the control room. But besides for that, what is this video really about? Well, as we all know, Division updates is still being postponed indefinitely. I was really hoping that, by March we would get something new. Obviously I was hoping back in December that we would get something. I was hoping, January we would finally get something. Of course, that didn't end up happening. And so there really isn't too much, new content for me specifically. There's nothing really for me to do in the game, or at least there's nothing I really want to do if I haven't already done it. There are a few builds that I never really touched just because I didn't need to use them. Some of the gear sets that I didn't use, I didn't really like at the time. Obviously, Striker got a buff, or I guess a fix. I guess it really depends on how you look at it. While it's not exactly what I would call top tier gear set, I would say it's more user-friendly now, and I'm going to be, taking a look at that. And there were a few others that I didn't really get to look at too much, or just didn't, I wasn't interested in them. So I'm going to be going back and, just playing with those a little bit. Obviously, I'm going to be in the game, so I might as well, take the time to, go through some of these things that maybe people will have a question on. But that kind of puts the focus on you guys. If you have a comment, or if you have a question, or if there's something you want to see, something you want to do, something that you need explaining. I mean, look, put a comment down below, ask your questions, say whatever you need to. Generally try to offer as much help to anyone as I can. If you're a noob and you're thinking like, oh, this is kind of a dumb question, I'm new to the game, I don't know any of this stuff, like I don't want to ask this stuff and look like an idiot. Look, there's plenty of people who ask questions and I answer them, right? I'm not going to, be like, oh, you're a noob, this is so stupid, ha 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 ha, figure it out. Like that's generally not the way that I answer my questions. If you want to be, if you want to be like a dick and try to like, say that I'm wrong on certain things without any real proof, or just, be like, well, that's not how it works, without actually offering any helpful advice to anything, yeah, then I'll probably be a little bit of a dick towards you. But if you're just asking a question because you don't know, I'm going to try to help you out as much as I can. And again, this goes over anything. If you have a question on how a specific stat works, how some healing works, or how some build works, or which would be the best gear set, or, whatever, depending on your build, I will try to answer those questions as best I can. And I'll try to give you as many different viewpoints, or at least as many different suggestions as I think, are needed for your question. But if you don't ask the questions, if you don't, try to get the advice from me, then there's not really much I can do for you. So if you have something on your mind, put it in the comment section. Now, if that still doesn't convince you to ask a question, you can take a look through my videos. Now, I've got plenty of good videos that can fully explain a lot of the damage types in the game. So if you are looking for a all red DPS build, I have videos that can explain how damage stacking works. All right, how damage is applied to certain enemies, how it's, very worthless on other enemies. If you have a question regarding damage, I've got a good video on that. If you are more interested in the healing side of the game, I have great videos on healing. So if you want to know what is the best, roles for having a self-healing build, if you want to know how to get the most out of your healing with, the least rolls possible, that way you can actually focus more on damage and just kind of having self-healing as a side, but you want it to be optimized as best as possible, I've got a video on that. If you want to know, how to get the most out of your shield, meaning, getting the highest amount of health on your shield, I've got videos on that. So, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that I explain in previous videos that you guys can get a wealth of information from, especially if you're new to my channel. Now, if you just have something that you're kind of like itching about, you're just like, I really wanted to see this kind of build, but I don't have the pieces. Look, again, leave a comment down below, say, what kind of idea that you were thinking about. Let's say you really wanted to see something like Hunter's Fury, but as a skill build, or you wanted to see something like Future Initiative as, like a DPS build. I mean, obviously those are kind of extremes. I mean, I really wouldn't recommend that kind of build. But if there was something specifically that you thought, this might be good, I got a feeling about it, but I just don't have the pieces, you can always ask me, and if I have them, I can always just take a look for you. I can help you out, just kind of planning a new build for yourself, or if you just have, again, build related questions that you can't necessarily answer because you don't have the pieces and you don't want to waste your time getting them in case it is terrible, I can help you out with that. At least I can do my best to help you out with that. But again, if you are a person who is still playing the Division and you're just looking for something new to do, or something new to try out, or if you are a new person to the game, you just don't really quite understand all the mechanics of it, look, the best thing I can tell you is ask a question. The worst thing I can do is, say I don't know. But hopefully I can answer that question. I can give you some really good information, or I can give you some really good ideas to replace something that you're currently using. So, I mean, look, if you got those questions, if you've got some sort of like burning desire to know something about the game, or to, dig a little bit deeper into the stats, or how some of the, different stacking works, all I can do is really, just help you out there. But either way, I am back. Hopefully I'll be getting some new content here with the game. Hopefully they announce some stuff. If not, I'll probably be playing through the game for a little bit longer. I can't say that I'm going to be, just back all the time for the next, year without any new content. Now, I really can't just sit there and just kind of rehash everything. But this does give you an opportunity if you are new to the game, or if you're just curious about something, you never really saw a video on it. It does give you a chance to ask me, and hopefully I can help you out. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.